Before this video starts, I'd like to give out 2 disclaimers. 1. Please take what I say with a grain of salt. My reality does not equal yours. And consequently, not every practice that I teach will correlate to what works for you. 2. Every practice that I teach, or anything you encounter spiritually, has its risks and dangers, including this practice here. Of course, I'll explain some of those risks and dangers, but please be careful. Of course, I am not saying be pessimistic about your spiritual journey or anything. You can always be careful and optimistic. That's what I do, and so can you. Now, without further ado, let's start the video. To make a tulpa, you have to understand 3 key concepts. 1. The concept of the mental space and how it works. What makes up you in that mental space. And 3. The very technique of making a tulpa. Various techniques, really. Now let's start with the concept of the mental space and how it works. First things first, I have to mention, everyone's mental space is different. So is mine, so is yours, so is another person's, like your friends. So what I show you is a big oversimplification of what a mental space is. Okay, imagine this. This is your mental space, right? This whole circle, what makes up it, right? And there's a lot of things in it. Could be a lot of things in it. What makes up this is your memories, your personality, everything that makes up you. Even spiritual stuff could exist here. Like, this is where you work mentally. This is what you work with when it comes to mental stuff, when it comes to spiritual, some spiritual stuff. And yeah. With this, we already are going to the second point. What makes up you? For some people, it could be a collection of many things, and what makes up you is really like, you don't know what makes up you, right? But for some, like for me, at least it was for me for a bit, is, you know what makes up you. This is you, and you are sure of what you are. And yeah, it could be 2 types, scattered and not scattered. Of course, not everything is black and white. So yeah. I'll tell you guys a story about the whole like mental space thing that I have learned or experienced. My story of how I got to this point, to understanding what a mental space is because I had this little thing called system. Tulpa that I've created that grew over time. Of course, it's no longer a thing anymore because I decided to start doing the spiritual things manually. But it was like an imaginary friend for me, somebody whom I miss very dearly. But we have to move on, and yeah. Where was I? Oh, yeah. How to make a tulpa. Yeah. So, imagine this. This is you, and you want to make another thing in this mental space. And actually, I'll explain various ways you can create a tulpa because there are lots of them. The very safest is to link you with the tulpa. To link your memories, what makes up you, with another you, per se, and give it a specific purpose. It could be to make you learn something, or make you learn patience, or stop procrastinating, or make so you are able to make stuff consistently, or do something consistently. You could imbue something like that into it. Of course, some people like to imbue a lot of things and create a whole ass fanfic for the Tulpa, but and not even have this for some reason. But I would say this is the safest method. And one little last thing that I heavily recommend you do is to set a condition for it to reintegrate with you once its purpose has been has been kind of completed, or has been completed. Of course, the second way, a way more dangerous way that so far I haven't seen people do, or maybe I'm just not seeing in the right place. Like, instead of having like a thing with a lot of like purpose and like everything, you don't have that. You don't even connect it to yourself. You just, you know, create a shell and maybe don't give it anything. Or give it one thing. If you give it one thing, it'll focus heavily on that, and what could very well happen is that it'll just be that and be heavily focused into that very thing. Of course, you could not give it anything, and it'll find something. Maybe its reason for existence would be to exist, and something unpredictable would happen. My general recommendation is to give it a precise reason to exist and link it to yourself, because then it would have everything it needs to survive. So, yeah, that's my basics of tulpa making, or tulpamancy, or whatever you may call it. Again, I'm talking about all of this from experience and not by researching. So maybe some of the things that I say are completely different than what is normally in certain wikis or Reddit pages. I don't know. Make what you will of this, and yeah, this was my start of my spiritual journey. Not with this, with system, you know. But yeah, enjoy the ride. Oh shit! I forgot. Dangers, dangers. Right. So, about the dangers of making tulpas or messing with your mental space, right? You could develop DID if you aren't careful. It could mess up your mind severely. That's one thing that is generally accepted upon that. I think at least it's generally accepted upon that. Like, if you fuck things up, you could end up with a very fucked up state of mind. The second way, I guess, is if you already gone fairly into it and you start doing spiritual stuff, there could be spiritual danger for you. What could happen is that, like, your negligence of the mental space itself, it could break down, or it could like change in weird ways. Like, what else? To be honest, I can't think of anything, but uh very dangerous. This shit is very dangerous. It could make you end up in a hospital or something. So yeah, don't don't oh, oh, oh. Don't do it. Memory problems. Definitely memory problems. I have them. Yeah. Colon 3. Goodbye.